But then we did Iron Sharpens Iron, Men Helping Men. That was another good one. Then we had 1 month we focused on Space to Be a Man, right? And do manly things. Then we had Feather, Boulder, Glass. All right, Feather, Boulder, Glass. And I think this is actually somewhere near where we started. I think we started the year off with this one, Superhero versus the Alter Ego, also known as the duality of a man. I think that's where we started. And then we also did, and this one was like one of the first four that we did. Can you handle the totality of a man? I want to say this was within the first 4 or 5 months we did this one. We talked about a man's world, and dealt with the pressure of being a man. And then we also talked about, just be a man about it, also known as man up. Now, on today, we've got a topic, a new subject. And our topic or subject for today is the impact or legacy of a man. The impact or legacy of a man. Yeah, that's what I want us to deal with on today. Listen, when we talk about man to man, there are so many memorable men in the Word of God. There's so many memorable men in history. And then there's so many memorable men who many of us have encountered in our lives. Men that made an impact on our lives. And because of things that they did, right? Because of who they were for us, it helped to shape who we are and how we are. And I want to encourage each man, every man, think about a man who, whether for good or bad, helped to make you who you are. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that, And the reason why I bring up and I mention for good or for bad is because I recognize and I realize that not every man leaves a positive legacy behind. Not every man leaves a good mark behind or a good impact behind. But there are some men who their claim to fame, their mark, right? The thing that they bring into our lives is negativity, right? It has helped to shape us and make us as mean and as bitter as we currently are. Right? I get that. I understand that. And here's my thing is I want to encourage every man to think about the legacy that you're leaving behind. Think about the impact you're making on the next generation. One of the things that I never wanted to be said about me, and listen, I get it. I get it. You can only control what you do from this day forward. And I know in my past I've done maybe some things that has caused some people some heartache, some pain, some upset, and due to that, maybe my legacy in their life is not as good as it ought to be. I get that. I'm sorry for that. But at this point, we as men can only control what we do from this point out. So I say that to say, every man under the sound of my voice, I don't care what you've done previously. I don't care what your life has been like or about before now. There's somebody, there's somebody out there who needs the impact that you bring, who needs the strength that you bring, who needs all that you bring to the table. They need that. They need that. but they need you to bring it in a positive light and in a positive way. Don't let your legacy, your impact on this earth, and again, I'm just kind of being more general this week because we still have, I think we're about four more weeks to kind of deal with this, and I'm going to break it out and break it down week by week, week by week. But whatever it is, whatever, think about how you want to be remembered. I think about people like Martin Luther King. You know, great man, did a lot for this nation, and in particularly minorities, if you will, in this country, people of color in this country. Martin Luther King did a lot, right? But you want to know what this next not next, what some of my generation, some of those 30 and below, you know what some of them think about Martin Luther King? Let me share this with you. And I get you can't help how you're remembered, but you can make such an impact. You can make such an impact that. Well, let me just say my original point there. Some of this generation, they talk about how, yeah, Martin Luther King, Reverend Martin Luther King did all these great things, but what about him cheating on his wife? What about this? What about that? And I was watching a video the other day where a young lady just like slammed Martin Luther King. I mean, granted, she's like in her 20s. I don't even know if she's 30 yet. Maybe she's 30. I don't know. You know, but she was just slamming Martin Luther King Jr. Right? So, oh no, how can you consider him great when he did this or cheated on his wife? He did that, And here's the thing. I get, but what I love, let me just say this. What I love about it is that there were so many people who spoke up and said, look, you did wrong. I know some man may have hurt you. Some man may have done this or done that. But that you can't let what your pain is overshadow what this man did for us, right? What he did for minorities. And see, that's where I was going with this, is that you can make such an impact. You can have such a legacy that, yeah, you did wrong. Yeah, you made a mistake. But when people look at it, they recognize, hey, yeah, he wasn't perfect. But none of us are. None of us are really, and I won't say expected to, but none of us can be completely perfect. Like I said, I've done my share of dirt. Some stuff that I pray God never gets out, right? If it ever got out, I mean, come on now. However, what I want is that my life, the things that I've done, I want those things to overshadow the wrong in my life. And men, what I want to encourage you in, and again, we've got I think, like I said, about 4 more weeks to kind of deal with this. But what I want for us to do is to begin to think about the legacy that we're leaving behind. When your children, when your grandchildren, when your nieces, when your nephews, when your great grands, and when they think about you, when they talk about you in the future, maybe you're not around. What would they say about you? Will they be singing that same old OJ song? Papa was a rolling stone, you know? Or will they say, you know what, my daddy stuck around, my granddaddy, my uncle, he was a good man, he did this, he did that. We've got to, men, again, I'm going to take 4 weeks to break this down. And I'm going to bring on some folks who I think will really help to inspire you and talk to you about your impact and the legacy that we're leaving behind. But in man to man this year, after we've dealt with all those topics that I talked about in the very beginning of this thing, it's so vitally important that what we recognize is that in all of that, we've been building up our legacy. I've been trying to throughout this entire year. I told you 2022 here on I Am Encouraged Radio is the year of the man. And throughout all of this, I've been trying to get you to a place to where as a man, you begin to put some good habits and practices in place so that then you can have a great legacy. You can have a better and bigger impact on those who you come in contact with. That's what this whole life and this whole journey boils down to. Is you know what? Like I left the mark that I can say, you know what? My family was saved. I mean, that's why I love what Joshua said. And I'm gonna bring this out. Probably, I think I have it down for week 3, or is it 2 or 3? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Joshua said, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Right? And with such being the case, I've got to encourage you, men. I'm wrapping this up because I've got 3 more minutes left. We've got to make sure. One of the things I'm telling you, one of the things that I love and appreciate, and this is why I can speak to this so well, is that my grandfather. Y'all know I talk about my grandfather a lot, and some of y'all probably tired of hearing me talk about Mr. Cleveland Nash, right? But Mr. Cleveland Nash had 8 children with his wife, Elvira Nash, right? And I'm not going to dare air, dirty laundry and all that stuff that I hadn't been approved to air, right? But he raised 8 children with his wife and didn't have much education, couldn't really read, but he built homes, he owned land, he had a business, and all that stuff is great. When my cousins and I and my when I say cousins, I mean like my cousins' children and my cousins' children's children, when we all get together and we talk about Granny and Papa, right? They remember that legacy of being right there on Shattuck Street. They remember growing up around there, coming around there, how Granny and Papa had room or made room for everybody, even if they didn't particularly have the room, they made room. And we all slept in that house and enjoyed one another. There was always plenty of food to eat. There was love. But one thing that they all can say and know, Granny and Papa, right? Loved the Lord. Papa knew how to pray. Papa would take time and make sure we prayed before meals and like they understood on Easter we going to church. And matter of fact, they understood anytime they were at Granny Papa's house on a Sunday, they were going to church. You didn't go to Granny Papa's house and don't bring church clothes. And if you didn't bring church clothes, you still going to church anyway, because it was part of the legacy. It's part of the impact that my grandfather and my grandmother left on this earth through their children, their children's children, their children's children's children, and so on and so forth. And to this day, they've been passed. My grandmother passed my first day in college, as a matter of fact, back in 2004, and not long after my grandfather passed, and to this day, now in 2022, we still talk about them. We still talk about the impact and the legacy, not just property. Because listen, property is good. Money is good, but beyond the money, beyond the property, right? What else can you say that, or what else will your children, grandchildren, folks be able to say that you left behind? That's what we'll be dealing with during the next few weeks of Man to Man. And then I've got one more, right? We're going to get into, after that, we got December, and I'm going to close us out in December talking about balance as a man. Balance. Now that we've got all these things put together, how do we balance it together as a man? That's what we'll be dealing with. That's what we'll be talking about the next 2 months. So this month, it's all about your legacy, your impact as a man. Then we're going to close out the year in December talking about balancing it all, the balancing act of being a man, the how to balance it. All right. I don't want to give you all these tools and tell you all this stuff and then not show you and help you balance it all. Okay. All right. All right. That's my time right there. That's my time. Man, I'm telling y'all, I really enjoy this man to man segment. And if you've missed any of them, I want you to know I archive all of them. They're all available on YouTube, on I Am Encouraged TV. I'm going to go through this. I'm going to try to do it this weekend and put all of them into a folder or a category so that when you go to the YouTube, you'll see a category that says man to man. You click on that, and all the videos should be there. Um, and if I've done one a week, which I have tried to do at least one a week, you should see by the time we get done, we'll have 52 of those there, right? So there's quite a bit of content there already because we're in November. But you can go to I Am Encouraged TV on YouTube. So go to YouTube, then in the search bar, just type in I Am Encouraged TV. That'll bring you to my channel. You'll be able to see all the videos, all the stuff that I've been doing, all the stuff that we do here on 93.5 KPPM. It's all there, okay? Or you can go to Facebook. It is on my Facebook page. On Facebook, I am James W. Chavis. It's on Encouragement Ministries Facebook page. It's also on I Am Encouraged Radio's Facebook page. I Am Encouraged Radio Facebook page. So it's on all those places, right? Plus, it's on the station's Facebook page, 93.5 KPPM, your community station. I'm live on all those pages right now. I'm live on YouTube right now. And then finally, it's all on Instagram as well. I'm live on Instagram right now as well. And you can go to on Instagram, James W. Chavis. All right, James W. Chavis. Chavis is how you spell Chavis. Chavis like Davis, all right, just with a CH. That's where you can find all this. So I want to encourage you, if you've missed any of these, if you know a man who could possibly benefit from these conversations that we've had, then please send him, share them. Don't just send him. Send him the links. That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say send him to the page, but no, you just send him the links and allow him to click and study and look and digest it all for himself. Okay. All right. All right. I want to thank you all for supporting me and encouraging me to continue on with these man-to-man segments. I've had quite a few brothers who've either called or who've seen me out and about, and they tell me how these man-to-man segments are a blessing to them. When I felt like giving up, and when I thought maybe nobody was listening or wasn't making any sort of difference or impact, you guys keep encouraging me. You all keep encouraging me, and I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Let me also say, while I've got just a couple of minutes, before, well, I don't actually have the time, but I'm going to say it real quick. Then I'm going to go to commercial break. Thank you all for tuning in to 93.5 KPPM. We greatly appreciate you all's support. I said it earlier. I'm going to say it again. We are still your community-minded station. We are still your inspiration and information station. What does that mean? That means that the more you listen, the better you feel, and the more informed you become. We're your community-minded station where we are for our community and we are by our community. And we are going to continue to renew that agreement, that contract with you every month, every year, every day. We're going to renew that contract by continuing to bring you great, positive, informative programming. All right. We may have shows that come and go, but our commitment will remain the same. And as station manager, I'm gonna make sure that we have programming on this station that uplifts you, that encourages you, and that keeps you informed. Okay. All right. All right. So just thank y'all. That's all I want to say. We made the switch from being 24 hours of gospel, and you all stuck with us. Thank you. We appreciate you. And we're renewing our commitment with you. It's not going back to 24 hours of gospel right now. All right. Now, I just want y'all to know that. However, you still will get gospel from, I think you get it from like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't looked at that part of the system in a while because that runs on autopilot because nobody's here at 2 in the morning. But you get your gospel like 12, 1, 2 in the morning. And then it runs all the way up until 5 p.m. All right. At 5 p.m. now, you're going to start hearing jazz. You've already been hearing jazz starting at 6. We've had such a request that I'm going to move jazz up to 5 p.m. So from 5 until 7, you're going to hear jazz here on 93.5 KPPM. Then from 7 on down, Zydeco, Southern Soul, Rhythm and Blues. All right. So that'll be from like 7 until like midnight, 1, 2 a.m. Okay. All right. So I want you to keep it locked. Keep it locked to 93.5 KPPM. We love you. We thank God for you. I've got to take a quick commercial break. All right. I've got to take a quick commercial break. But before I take that commercial break, let me do a live commercial for you. The Foundation House is open and serving lunch on today. Their menu for today, listen, they're open, let me say this first, from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. And you heard the commercial that runs for them, but they've got fish. Today, it is fish day. Oh, and if you know like I know, ain't nothing like some good fried fish on Friday. And they've got fried gar, which I absolutely love their fried gar. Then they've also got fried catfish and smothered ribs. Oh, yeah. Glory to God. Listen, I'm stuck between the fried catfish and the smothered ribs on today. I don't know which one to do. But then you've got your rice and gravy. You've got your choice of sides. We've got corn, green beans, red beans, and potato salad. Okay. Then you get your choice of a cornbread or a roll. So I want you all to make sure that you go by the Foundation House, 720 Enterprise Boulevard. All right, 720 Enterprise Boulevard, and pick you up a good hot lunch on today. Now, you may have just like 30 minutes or so on your lunch break. I don't know. And you're like, hey, I want to get it and then run and be able to eat it, before I got to get back in. Either way, whether you just go and pick it up, they are quick. I'm telling you, it don't take long. Or whether you call your order in ahead of time, why don't you go by and beat that lunchtime hunger with the Historical Foundation House? Their number is 337-433-3266. Again, that's 337-433-3266. All right. All right. I just wanted to encourage you in that. Make sure you go by the Historic Foundation House and get your lunch today. Now, let's take a quick commercial break, and then I'll be right back with all the news you absolutely can use.
Hey, boss, I need to talk to you a minute over here.